Now we're going to start by importing the necessary libraries. Here, I'm bringing in three important ones: JSON, Time, and Ollama. The first one, JSON, is used for parsing JSON data. This will be useful later on when we're working with JSON responses from our agent. Next up, we have Time. This library provides us with a way to introduce delays in our code, which can be helpful for testing or debugging purposes. Finally, we've got Ollama, which is the library that allows us to interact with our AI agent. This will be the core of our simulation, enabling us to send requests and receive responses from the model. Now we're going to work on defining the system prompt that will instruct our agent on how it should behave and respond. This is an important part of our code because it sets the tone for the interactions between the user and the agent. In this block, we're assigning a string variable system_prompt that contains the instructions for the agent. It's describing what the agent's job is, what tools are available to it, and how it should respond to user requests. The response format is specified in JSON structure with specific fields like response and tools. Now we're going to work on defining some example user prompts. This is a list of strings that will be used to simulate user input for our system. In this case, we have three different prompts. The first one asks the agent to create a file named test.txt with the content "Hello, world." The second prompt instructs the agent to send an email to test@test.com with the subject "Hello" and the message "Hello, world." And the third prompt requests the agent to add a schedule for 3 p.m. with the message, "Meeting with John." Now we're going to work on simulating each scenario. Here's what this block of code does. It iterates over a list of example prompts, and for each prompt, it prints out the current prompt being processed. Next, it uses the Ollama library to simulate a chat with the model defined as phi3 latest. This means that the agent is going to respond based on this model. The code defines two messages in the chat, one as the system prompt, and another as the user input, which is the current prompt being processed. So, essentially, this block of code simulates a conversation between the system and the user for each example prompt in the list. Now we're going to work on extracting and parsing the response from the agent. First, we're defining parsed_response as the content of the response message. This will be the text output from the agent. Next, we're checking if this response contains embedded JSON, specifically looking for JSON and /JSON tags within the response string. If it does, we'll print a message indicating that we found a tools call embed in the response. If we do find such an embedded JSON block, we'll extract it using split, and then strip any leading or trailing whitespace characters. Then, we'll load this extracted JSON data into a dictionary format using json.loads. Finally, we're printing out the full agent response to display the entire output from the chat with the model. Now, let's work on this part of the code. Here, I'm checking if the parsed response contains a tools section. If it does, I'll iterate over each tool in that section and print out which tool is being used. So, if we have a response that says something like, "Hey, use the send_email tool to send an email," this code would detect that and then print out, using tool, send_email.